What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I got to tell you, man, I got to talk about some stuff tonight. I got to talk about Bob Arum. I just did a video recently about Bob Arum and his response to Errol Spence with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, that situation, and how that fight can happen, how he's able to negotiate and working with other promotional companies to making that fight get made. Okay. So now he's doing it again. He's been very adamant, very open, very understanding lately. I think, again, because he's getting older, he's getting tired of the competition. You know what I mean? It's about seeing the best fight the best. And then when you get that old, you probably just want to know, you want to get back to the true essence of the sport. Who's better? Who's not? Whatever. If my fighter's better, he's better. If he's not, he's not. You know what I mean? But it won't be any excuses. Now he's doing it again. He's doing it with Vasily Lomachenko, and Mikey Garcia. Loma and Mikey has been, in talks or rumored to fight for a long time. Recently, everyone knows that the Mighty Badger, which is Mikey Garcia, that's what we call him on this channel, he's campaigning to fight 2 weight classes up to fight Errol Spence, and, I look at that and I'm thinking to myself, I never really agree with that. I respect his balls, his cojones. I respect that. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's ballsy, but then it's like, okay, why would you ignore what you could do at the weight class you're at? That's what I'm like. And Bob Arum, also stated that, he has a great relationship with Roberto Garcia, which is the brother of Mikey Garcia and also his trainer. You know what I mean? And I look at that, he's saying he has no problem making a fight. If Mayweather and Pacquiao can fight, both being on 2 different networks, and they can come together, why can't these guys? Why can't these 2 fights? So this is another example, people, that fights that say that can't happen are the promotional companies coming from the fighters. These ain't coming from the promoters. The promoters are speaking. You know what I mean? You're talking about Eddie Hearn. You're talking about Bob Arum. You know what I mean? You don't really hear much from Al Heyman because he's more of a advisor that does also promote. So he does a dual job task, but you don't really hear him do any interviews. He's kind of like that quiet partner in the game. But now you're hearing guys that are adamant on making fights, trying to get these fights together. You know what I mean? So you can't blame the promoters no more. You can't blame Bob Arum. People say, oh, Bob Arum's just throwing smoke. Why would he be throwing smoke? Why would he be blowing smoke? You know what I mean? Why would he even do that? I mean, if his fighter's the best, let him fight. Mikey Garcia used to be at Top Rank. He said they don't even have any more beef. You know what I mean? So someone's lying for some reason. If it's Bob Arum, you know what I mean, call him out. But if Loma wanted to fight Michael Garcia, Loma will fight anybody. You know what I mean? I'm looking for a name for Loma, high tech, sure, but I'm looking for an animal name, for a savage animal name. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking maybe you guys could help me out on some suggestions because, Loma, he's a man to test himself, and he always wanted to test himself, and I just question now people that claim to test themselves. Like you look at Errol Spence, okay? Errol Spence, he wanted to take on Porter, Thurman. He was talking about Canelo, and Canelo, of course, is, the new crown king at 160. So, but now you would entertain that fight at 13 pounds difference from the weight class that you're accustomed to, versus fight a guy that's in your own weight class or around your weight class. You know what I mean? That's like Mikey Garcia, they're both, it seems like they're both doing the same thing. Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence. Sure, if they fight each other, I don't even see why Errol Spence would want to take a fight with Mikey Garcia, honestly. It's not about Mikey wanting to fight Earl. It's about Earl accepting a fight with Mikey because he won't get credit for that. No, but everybody knows that he's going to be criticized if he goes in there. The only way that fight is acceptable is Mikey Garcia somehow wins. That's the only way. Because if Earl Spence goes in there and rips to the body and, you know what I mean, and open Mikey up and get him out of there and quick, he will not get respect for that. And I don't see how he knows that. At the same time, he's saying this about Terrence Crawford, that Terrence Crawford's supposed to, he's a great fighter, but he ain't fought nobody. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that. You know, that's very contradicting, especially because you're saying that a guy, he's a great fighter in this, but who has he fought? Well, he ain't a great fighter then, so you can't say he's a great fighter, right? You're debating his resume. You're saying everybody that he fought, you know, the few fighters that you were able to fight, they are better than everybody that he's fought, which is absolute trash. So, you know, you looking at all this and you see these fighters that claim to want to go up to weight classes. You know what people are doing? If they know if they go up in weight, they have a built-in excuse already. If I lose, it'll be a glorified loss. Now Mikey's talking about only fighting 3 more times in his career. You know what I'm saying? And getting out. Like, well, you know, that makes sense, though, because you could factor that in. If he's only fighting for like 3 more times or a couple more years or whatever, then he's out. He wants to test himself to the best of his ability. Now, I can understand that. You know what I mean? But then I'm like, okay, but what he said about Loma didn't make sense to me, because he said that Loma, I don't think Loma is a threat. You know what I mean? Like, if he could get dropped by Linares, I think I'll walk through him easy and whatnot. You know what I mean? And the camp thought that. And I'm like, well, that's a hell of a thing to say, but it's another thing to do it. You know what I mean? Like, put your money where your mouth is, really, when it comes to saying stuff like that. You know, one of the, you know, top pound for pound fighters. But you're saying you'll walk right through him just because he caught a right hand by Linares, and then Linares got stopped in the 9th round or the 10th round in their bout. You know what I mean? See, I have a problem with that. You know, I don't like a person that says, oh, well, if someone else can do this, I can clearly do that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Not saying he couldn't. I just don't like someone saying it and not willing to back it up. You know, and if you look at guys moving up and you look at statistically who moved up, look at Khan did it. Khan did it. Brook did it. None of those guys were successful. You know what I mean? The only guy that was really half-ass successful was Canelo, when he, you know, and he got a draw and a split decision hair win against Golovkin. You know what I mean? So he was the only dude that really do that. De La Hoya couldn't do it. Trinidad attempted it too, right? He couldn't do it. You know, he tried, you know, he knocked out Joppy, but he got to Bernard Hopkins, got stopped. De La Hoya got stopped by the same guy, Hopkins. So, no, it's not really successful moving up in weight. You know what I mean? Unless you're someone like Roy Jones. Y'all must have forgot. That kind of guy. But, you know what I mean? If these dudes are trying to be like that guy, if they're legitimately trying to be like that guy, or are they running from someone that's at their weight class primarily? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it seems like to me. I could be wrong, but it seems like, well, why would you worry about fighting someone bigger? You know what I mean? Versus fighting someone that you know that's more your equal. Because people just don't want to accept a true loss. You know what I'm saying? People don't want to accept that. People don't want to, oh, well, you know what? This guy was like Errol Spence. Imagine he gets mopped and gets just outboxed, outclassed by someone like Terrence Crawford. I don't think he would be able to live that down. He probably would retire. You know what I'm saying? Mikey probably would too if Loma went in there and made him look foolish. You know what I'm saying? Because then there would be no built-in excuse at all whatsoever that they could run to, they could resort to. None of that. So that's what I think. You know, I'm thinking that, you know what I mean? Like, just like Mikey would be easy to take on Terrence Crawford. You know, and I made a video about that. Just like it would be easier for Errol Spence to take on Terrence Crawford. They're the same weight class. You know, make this make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I don't get. Like, people are so easy to do something that they know that's way above their ability, or, just seems far-fetched. Hey, I'm more than willing to do that because I'm throwing everybody off because it's unusual, right? This is an unusual thing to do. If Mikey would care to do something that Terrence Crawford did it the right way. He unified the whole division. Mikey Garcia could at least do that. Then he would move up pound for pound more because now he's an undisputed champion. He could take out Pedraza. He beat not Brewster. What's the guy's name? I can't even get his name. I kind of lose his name, though. I got his name and face in my head. I can't remember him, but he beat him in a unification, right? Now, why don't he go after Pedraza or Loma? Because Pedraza just beat Beltran. You know what I mean? Robert Easter. So, it's like, you beat Easter, so you got a piece of that. You know what I mean? At least you got a couple belts at 135. Try unifying the division. But I know Mikey, he's bigger. Mighty Badger, he's bigger than that division. He wants to do more in that division. So, but then, you know what I mean? I'm like, hey, don't look for wars where you already have one in your backyard. That's what I say. You know what I mean? And I say that for both of these fighters. Now that you're having guys like Bob Arum that's adamant on making these fights, you know what I'm saying? Let's see, the response from these fighters, because you haven't heard it yet. Bob Arum has spoke about Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, and Bob Arum has also spoke about Mikey Garcia and Lomachenkho, right? So let's see if these two guys, that appear to be fearless, let's see if they fearlessly respond and accept the challenges. That's what we got to find out. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.